Good morning, ma'am. So this topic is about the cellular respiration. Okay, so for learning objectives, this topic discuss which components are necessary for productions of energy, and also to understand which type of cellular respiration produces more energy. Identify the key energy molecules of the body, and also build a model representations of ATP and ADP, and also to learn what is catalyst and enzyme. Now, why is it important to learn about cellular respiration? The purpose of cellular respiration is simple. It provides cells with the energy they need to function. If living things could not get the energy they need out of food, it would be absolutely worthless all, because all living things would eventually die no matter the quality and the amount of food. So here, more about the cellular respiration. So the cellular respiration, it is the process by which biological fuels are oxidized in the presence of an inorganic electrons acceptor which asks oxygen to produce large amount of energy to drive the bulk productions of ATP. The ultimate goal of cellular respiration is to take carbohydrates like starch, disassemble them into glucose molecules, and then use this glucose to produce energy-rich ATP molecules. There are also two types of cellular respiration, the aerobic and anaerobic respiration. One occurs in the presence of oxygen, or the aerobic, and one occurs in the absence of oxygen, or the anaerobic. These both begin the glycolysis, the splitting of glucose. Now, oxygen and glucose are both reactants in the process of cellular respiration. The main product of cellular respiration is ATP, or the adenosine triphosphate. Waste products include carbon dioxide and water. So all living animals have cells that carry out cellular respiration. During cellular respiration, organisms break down nutrients in order to produce energy in the form of ATP. Let's take a closer look to see how this happens. If we zoom in one of these animal cells, we can see the mitochondria, where the majority of the reactions involved in cellular respiration occur. Let's zoom in one of the mitochondrium. Cellular respiration consists of four primary stages. These are glycolysis, the preparatory reactions, the citric acid, and the electrons transport chain. The first stage is glycolysis. It occurs in the cytoplasms outside of the mitochondria. During glycolysis, enzymes break down glucose into molecules of pyruvate. During this process, 2 ATP are produced and NADH is released to be used in a later step of cellular respiration. Now, stage 2, the preparatory reaction. During this stage, the pyruvate of glycolysis move into the mitochondria, where they are converted into acetyl or CoA. During this conversion process, more NADH is produced and carbon dioxide is released. Now in stage 3, the citric acid, remaining carbons from the initial glucose are oxidized, releasing a carbon dioxide. NADH and FADH2 are also produced in addition to 2 ATP molecules. Most ATP productions occurs in stage 4, which is the electrons transport chain, or ETC. In this stage, the NADH and FADH2 from the previous stage gives up electrons to the chain. Energy is released and captured as electrons move from a higher energy to a lower energy state using a series of proteins embedded in the membranes of the mitochondria. Later, this energy will be used for the productions of ATP, typically 32 to 34 initial glucose. Oxygen is used by ATC As a terminal electrons acceptor, it then combines with hydrogen ions to produce water. Now, if we add up all the ATP produced from just one glucose molecules, we can see that these reactions produce a total of 36. One glucose molecules produce 36 to 38 ATP. Now let's move about the enzymes and catalysts. What is the role of enzymes in cellular process? What do enzymes do? Now, enzymes are protein catalysts that speed biochemical reactions by facilitating the molecular rearrangements that support cell function. Recall that chemical reactions convert substrates into products, often by attracting chemical groups to or breaking off chemical groups from the substrates. Now, how enzymes related to respirations? The reason for this is because aerobic respiration is a series of enzymes controlled reactions that release the energy stored up carbohydrates and lipids during the photosynthesis and make it available to living organisms. These are four stages, which is the glycolysis, the Krebs cycles, and oxidative phosphorylation. Are enzymes catalysts? A fundamental task of proteins is to act as enzymes. Now, ang catalyst that increase the rate of virtually all their chemical reactions within the cells. Because enzymes catalyst refers to a various reactions or the catalyzed by enzymes that occurs in the bodies of the animals and plants to maintain life processes. Now, what is the role of enzymes in the cellular respiration? Enzymes allow reactions to take place at the lower temp. Every reaction in a cell requires a specific enzymes, so they are named for their substrates formed when enzymes and substrate come together during a reaction. Now, how do enzymes regulate cellular respiration rate for cells? The number cellular respirations enzymes are controlled by a binding of regulatory molecules at one or more allosteric sites. An allosteric site is just regulatory site other than the active site. Binding or regulatory of the allosteric site of an enzyme changes its structure, making it more or less active. Now, what are the three types of catalysts? Catalysts can be categorized as homogeneous, heterogeneous, or enzymatic. Homogeneous catalysts exist in the same phase as the reactants, whereas heterogeneous catalysts exist in a different phase than the reactants. How do enzymes regulate cellular reactions? Enzymes lower the activations of energies of chemical reactions. In call, they promote those reactions that are specific to a cell functions. Because enzymes ultimately determine which chemical reactions a cell can carry out and the rate at which they can proceed. They are the key to a cell functionality. Now, the summary, the enzymes are biological catalysts. Again, the catalysts lower the activation's energy for reactions. The lower activation energy for our reactions, the faster the rate. Those enzymes speed up the reactions by lowering activation's energy. Now, a catalyst, it is a substance that can be added to a reaction to encase the reaction rate without getting consumed in this process. Catalysts typically speed up reactions by mechanisms. Enzymes are proteins that act as a catalyst in a biochemical reactions.